Hey, this is YBR with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a slammed Toyota pickup. And I decided the best place to possibly look at a slammed vehicle would be roads where there are bumps all over the place. So that should be some really dumb driving we're going to be doing. But first, let me give you a quick look at the vehicle itself from above so you can see what it looks like normally, kind of. And then we're going to look at it from below so you can see just how slammed this thing actually is. So from the back, it's actually on a bit of an uneven surface, so it looks a little higher than it is. If we get on a flatter surface, you can see just how low this thing sits. That little license plate holder is just about touching the ground, just sitting static. And if you look at the side and try to look under the vehicle, you'll see there's really barely any ground clearance at all over there. So when they say slammed, they really mean slammed. This thing sits unbelievably low. And here's a look at the J-beam structure, which is based on the stock pickup. And it seems to work good enough because pickups don't vary too much in shape, but you'll notice things like the extra wide fenders are not quite matching up with the J-beam as you would expect, but the extra cab does match up. And you can even look inside here and see the suspension and see how it matches up. But really, that's mostly a mess of J-beam that's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, so I can't say much about that. Get out. And for the interior, there are some funny things about it. For example, you could look at your feet and you can see the frame of the truck right there because it sits so low to the ground. And you can also see part of the exhaust right there, which would be scorching hot because that looks like a catalytic converter that's basically right where your legs would be. So you'd burn your legs if you tried to sit there. So this is a driver-only car, and you got to be careful not to touch that because it's going to be hot. Also, the door does not seem to be fitted quite properly. Like, that is a gap in the door. That is not airtight. And that's just the way the door is. It's not like I damaged it or anything like that. That's just the way it is. As for functionality of the interior, you only have a steering wheel, gear lever, and pedals that actually function. I don't think the gauges work because I can't see them because they're pitch black. And if I turn the lights on, it doesn't change anything. So I have to assume that that is all of the functionality you get. Wow. So I managed to get it stuck already, and actually the real reason I got stuck there was because I stopped. Like, if I didn't stop, I would have been perfectly fine, as you just saw there. But when you stop this thing, you got to stop on a pretty flat surface. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make contact with the ground to be able to put the power down because of how low it sits to the ground. But once you're driving, you're able to maintain speed all right, and you'll notice that there are sparks coming off of this thing all the time because it's pretty much always scraping on these roads. I mean, you basically need to be driving on a racetrack in terms of smoothness for this thing not to be scraping all over the place. It just sits so low to the ground, and it actually is really hard to control because of how low it sits. You have a really stiff suspension with virtually no travel to it, so every time you hit a bump, it's actually pretty difficult to maintain control of it, which is why I'm not going much faster than 30, 40 miles per hour, because I'm afraid to with this thing. It is very hard to control on these kinds of roads. You know, I feel like I can totally control it no matter what at these speeds, but if I start going faster than this, I don't think I'm going to have control over it. You can see just driving along on this right here, scrape, scrape, scrape. And the game really needs a sound for when you're scraping on things. Like, I see all these sparks coming off, and I want to hear the car scraping as it drives along the whole way. I mean, this whole video would just consist of scraping sounds, sure. But it'd be pretty funny just hearing all this scraping sounds. Like, I would try to make a scraping sound with my voice just to, like, pretend I'm dubbing it over, but I can't do that. Like, yeah, that's gonna sound terrible. I know it, so I'm not even gonna try. Ooh, that looked good though. Right here, there's a perfect hole we could just drive through and scrapes. I mean, this thing just so little ground clearance, you can't do nothing. Oh, something just made a noise. Can we still accelerate? Yep, it's fine. All right, so now I'm gonna just go full throttle, which means I'm gonna probably spin out and crash. And well, I know I will because I'm kind of half trying to. I'm trying to keep control of it, but I know there's no way. So that's why we're going to crash. Whoa! Whoa! What? We got stuck in the sand? See, it sits so low to the ground, you go off into the sand a little bit, and it just stops you. Ha! And I guess the reason for that is the actual body of the car is digging into the sand, where usually if you go into the sand with a normal vehicle, you just have the wheels and the tires touching the sand. This one, the whole thing just digs into it and, well, it stops you good. And so we have a little bit of damage on the rear from that collision, but that's really nothing. I'm kind of curious, can we even really drive through the sand with how low this thing sits? If we try to drive through the sand, can we at all? I guess we can. I mean, it looks like it's sort of working. We're going unbelievably slow, but we are making consistent progress. Now, as for getting out of the sandy area, that's an impossible task, because that's basically off-roading. I don't think it can do it. Oh, maybe? No, we're stuck. We're stuck. I can back out of it, but I can't go up it unless maybe I use the manual transmission. We could try it out. Try to see if I find a better place to try it. But this is not an off-road vehicle. This is a slammed pickup. This is not what you should be trying to do with it. But I'm doing it anyways, and it's not working. So let's go and just reset this bad boy. And we can drive around here just a little bit more, but since we can't get up to a very high speed, it's kind of hard to do any crashes that are really interesting, because every crash is going to be at like maybe 20 miles per hour, which is okay, but you're not going to get a huge amount of damage to really look at when you do a crash like that. So I'll just drive around on this road for a little bit more. Maybe we could try driving on a dirt path just for the heck of it. Like, I'm almost certain we'll probably get stuck, but we could try it out because there's a dirt path coming up that we could take eventually, if I can get there without crashing. I don't know how well this is going to go, the way this thing is just bouncing so hard and all over the place. Oh my goodness! The dirt in the road! That little bit of dirt that was pushed onto the road just totally took out my truck. Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. I honestly would have never guessed something like that would happen. Just a little bit of dirt sitting on the road will kill your slammed vehicle. Now, I don't know how realistic it is, but in the game, that's exactly what happened. So I'm just going over to this dirt road instead because it's a little bit closer. And here we go. Come on. Off-roading in my slammed truck. Best idea ever. It's actually doing okay. I mean, I'm not doing no rock crawling or nothing like that, but just going through the dirt road, it's much better than the road with a little bit of dirt on it. Oh, I spun out again. Man, this thing is just so hard to control. It looks like we're going to do a 180 here. Oh, no, we're stuck. Wait, no, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. I can't tell. I'm just going to do a 180 because if I try to actually spin around to keep going the right direction, we're going to get stuck. So, yeah, I guess this demonstrates how poor of an off-road vehicle this is. I mean, nobody expects a slammed truck to be a good off-road vehicle. But I wanted to see just how bad it was. Looks like we might be able to get up to speed here, and maybe if we keep it straight. Nah, we're hitting the dirt too hard. Can't even get more than about 30 miles per hour. Let's go for a swim then. Time for a slam swim. And as you can see, when you get into the water, it does kill the engine as you would expect. So let's go ahead and make our way to a different map. We can go to grid map and do some actual suspension test stuff there to see how terrible it is at that. For now, we'll stick to the normal slammed pickup, and we'll look at the other ones later on, because for the suspension test, it really doesn't matter which one you use. They're all going to struggle on it. So we'll start off by trying to do this, and I think the only way to actually get through it will be to go really fast like that and just kind of coast over it and scrape all over the place. Because if you try to drive over it a little bit carefully and slowly, I'm pretty sure you would just get stuck. And we can test that theory real quick, so we'll slow it down to maybe like 20 miles per hour and try our best to maintain that speed. Oh goodness, we're slowing down, and oh no, we're stuck. Not yet, not yet. Yeah, you definitely want to go through this fast, because this is, I guess we could keep going forever. But boy, is this slow and painful to actually watch. Like, oh, we're almost there though, so I'm gonna finish it up and happy times. And just because it's there, let's go ahead and do the more difficult suspension test as well. But I honestly do not see this going very well at all because of the amount of ground clearance required to do this. We're basically just flying over it because there's not enough travel in the suspension to actually go over the bits normally. We just fly over it, which means my wheels are not on the ground, so I have absolutely no control over the direction this thing goes. It goes whichever way it wants, and it looks like the way it wanted to go was getting stuck right here, and we are now officially stuck. Also, this is a good time to demonstrate that this is a rear-wheel drive only vehicle. It does not have any sort of four-wheel drive. It's purely rear-wheel drive. And just because I like torturing this little Toyota, let's try going over the speed bumps, and I'm going to try getting stuck on the speed bumps to see if this vehicle can get stuck on just a normal speed bump. So we're just gonna go like that, and yeah, that's stuck. That is totally stuck, and it took 2 speed bumps in this situation to get it stuck, but I'm pretty sure just 1 speed bump would have been enough to get this truck completely stuck, as you're seeing right here. So I think that's enough of the suspension testing stuff. So let's go ahead and test this car's actual crashing abilities. And we'll start off by doing something that should be pretty fun. We'll go through the loop, but we're going to just go through it. We're not actually going to drive the loop. So we just go like that. And we should be able to land like on our side at a pretty good speed. We could get some slow-mo while I line up this camera. Get a nice camera angle for you guys. Maybe we'll do like this. That looks like it'll be a pretty good camera angle. Speed it up just a little bit until impact. And watch the impact. So I got it right in the corner, which is pretty good. I was expecting it to be more of a whole side impact, but that works either way. And we can speed it up just a bit to 8 times speed. It's actually bouncing up a lot. And bouncing again. Nope, that's it. Alright, are you immobilized? Yes, it is. How's the damage actually look on the truck? It looks fine. I see no real issues with the way it crashed. Looks pretty good to me. There is a little more waviness than you would expect in some of the body panels, but it's nothing really significant. It's just like a small thing where it looks maybe a tiny bit off. For the next crash, let's do something a little bit more simple and just crash this into a wall if we can control it. Right there, that thing was just sliding the whole time I was trying to accelerate. Now hopefully if we aim for the corner of the walls over here, we should at least get to highway speeds, and it looks like we are definitely going to hit that. By the time I started the sentence to the time I ended it, we basically got up to highway speeds. And it's kind of hard to tell what the corner is, but it looks like, ooh, that thing should be good to hit. Right there, that little piece that sticks out. That'll be awesome. All right, 100 times slower, and let's watch. Okay, that is instant death for the driver because the steering wheel just went straight through his chest. You can see the steering wheel right there going straight through him. And how's the car itself looking? Okay, let's go and just speed it up a bit so we could get it out of there and actually look at the impact. All right, how's it look? Looks decent enough to me. I don't notice anything too crazy about the way it crashed. Now, the tires are in really odd places, but with it being lowered so much, I guess that's kind of forgivable. It's like the tires have to go somewhere. So that one's going to go in a weird spot, and then the other one's going to go in a weird spot too, but it makes sense that they would end up like that. And actual damage to the vehicle seems decent enough. Try to look at it from the inside, and the dash has totally exploded, it looks like here. I don't know what's exactly going on with it. We got pieces all over the place from that thing. Bench seat seems okay. Truck interior, like B-pillar and stuff, is definitely bent and beat up. Overall, though, I think it did pretty well in terms of realism. For the next crash, let's drive off of the top of something so we could just teleport the car up to here and then drive it right off of the top of this thing and try my very best to actually land it on its roof. So I'm going to actually go forward instead of backwards. I don't know why I put it there. I wasn't thinking. And then we're just going to accelerate a bit and roll off. Perfect. And we'll just do about 4 times slow-mo on this one. So you can see how strong the roof is and all that. And how it copes with damage. And we could just full speed it. That actually looks like it's a slammed and chopped vehicle after that crash almost. At least the back. The front, it actually looks damaged. But if you look at just the slope of this part, it almost looks like a slammed and chopped vehicle. Doesn't drive anymore though, and there's a lot of damage to the roof. I think a little bit more than I was expecting, to be honest. And we could do 1 or 2 more crashes here before we move on to a new map. And for this one, I want to try to wrap the truck around a tree, and I don't know how much wrapping there'll actually be if it's more of just a normal crash because of the speed, but I'll do my very best to get it to wrap the tree. And we're just going to hit the tree that is directly in front of us right here. So we're just going to probably get to about 70 miles per hour before we hit the E-brake and slide it. And it looks like that is a perfect alignment. I'm actually really happy with that. And we'll put 100 times slow-mo on until I find a good camera angle, which will probably be right there. And we'll let it roll at 100 times slow-mo since it's already making impact. And I really hit that exactly how I wanted. I'm really happy about that, so we can speed it up a bit since impact is over. And let's see, can it still drive at all? Nope, that is an immobilized vehicle. And let's move it out of the shadows a bit so we can actually see it a little bit more clearly. Taking a look at the damage, it seems like the amount of damage is pretty reasonable for the impact, and I see no real major issues whatsoever with the way it crashed there. Although the rear tires did shift a little bit more than I would have expected, but I think it's within reason for that impact. And aside from that, everything else looks pretty good. For the last test, what I want to do is drop another Slam Toyota on top of the Slam Toyota I'm already driving. And before we do that, I'm going to just go ahead and switch up the color real quick so we have two different colors so we can tell the cars apart nice and easily. And I'm not going to do any super scientific lining this up perfectly kind of stuff. We're just going to use the map editor, pull it up to about here, and drop it like so. And perfect alignment actually right there. And I actually want to see the impact, so let's go and just reset both. And then put a little bit of slow-mo on. Where is the truck? Okay, it's coming good. Lots of slow-mo so you could really see that impact. And perfect. I wonder if it can still drive after being crushed like that. I don't think the pinkish red one will be able to drive after the impact, but the blue one might be able to. We'll find out. So, real time this thing. And go. I think there's just too much weight on it. Okay, we'll move this one out the way. Yes, it drives! Now this is a slammed pickup. It is so short. I could probably drive this thing under a tractor trailer if there was one I could drive it under, but I don't think I have any sort of drivable under tractor trailers installed at the moment. Like, you could try to drive under this, but there's not enough of a gap. I mean, I'll show you just as a demonstration purpose. I don't think it's really necessary, but look, the car won't fit through that. That's not gonna happen. I can kind of fake it though. Like, I could just do this. Come on, under it. Oh, just barely too tall with the extra guard right there. And now we're totally stuck. Oh, no, we freed it. All right. See, and if we tried to go through here, too wide. Just, can't fit. Too fat. All right, enough of that. Let's go ahead and just, move on to a different map to try out the other versions of the car. And I want to try these out at, let's go to Hirochi Raceway. And now we can take a look at the drift version of the Toyota pickup. And it does look a little bit different than the normal one because it has some parts removed. But in terms of performance, it is pretty similar because it has the exact same engine, but a different transmission and a modified suspension. Now, this transmission is terrible in automatic mode. Right now, I'm not hitting the accelerator and letting go of it, causing the car to shift. It just does that. So we're going to go ahead and put it in the manual mode so we can actually control the crazy transmission. I mean, who has an automatic drift car anyways? I mean, really, that doesn't even really sound like it would make much logical sense to do. And we'll try to drift it, but we all know WhyBeAres can't drift. It's more than a stereotype, it's the truth. I was deciding which way to go. I was like half deciding I was going to go to the left, and I'm like, no, I'm going to go right. Like, that was the worst time to be indecisive because, like, I was starting to split the difference. I'll say, oh yeah, let's just go in the middle of the two. That'll work. And you can see I can kind of drift this, but I'm honestly scared of driving this thing and drifting it because it just seems like if you get too steep into a drift, you'll try to like counter steer it and it'll just whip itself around and you'll spin out. Like, that's what it seems like always happens to me. So here, I'm gonna try to drift it a little bit harder instead of these real gentle drifts because I'm scared of it. So here we go. No! I did that terrible. I will say I did that awful. But the truck doesn't do you many favors in terms of drifting. You gotta be at least somewhat decent at it to get it to drift, and well, that's not me. That's not me at all. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. I could just show you that. I can do like baby drifts like that. Because that's the only thing I can really keep this thing under control with. If I try to... See? Nope. Alright, enough of embarrassing myself. Let's go ahead and look at the other versions of the truck. The first one is the slammed no bed, which looks very similar to the one we're driving, except the bed is gone. Then we also have the slammed stripped, which is just like this one, but even more parts are removed. Interesting enough, the doors are kept on, but you can remove them if you want to. Now, all of these versions of the truck perform pretty much the same. This one is a little bit faster because it has a little bit less weight, but it still is terrible to try to drive. Like, it is very easy to spin out, and you got to be very careful driving it. But I would honestly say this one's probably a little bit more suited to drifting to me than the drift one for some reason. Like, just it has to do with the way I drive it. It just feels a little bit more forgiving, which this car really needs. Like, it is not a forgiving vehicle to try to drive, let alone drift. So like, I could do that, and it actually is a little bit more of a drift than the drift one. Like, I'm less afraid, although it'll still spin out very easily for me if I try to get it to do like a serious drift where you really get it in like that. It's gonna, like, for me, it spins out every time, basically. That's why I didn't do it on the other one, because it spins out every time. And we also got stuck on the little bump right there. I hate drifting. Instead, let's try to just drive it around this place normally. And we'll use the normal version for that, just so we have a different look to it. And this time I'm not going to try to drift. I'm just going to try to drive it like a race car. Although I might drift accidentally just because of the way it's set up. I really don't know how this thing will perform when you try to drive it fast. Like, this is not a car you want to drive fast. Okay, it kind of just wants to drift. Like, it feels like it wants to drift instead of just gripping the road. It always seems to slide a little bit. Like right there, you see it sliding out, sliding out. So I try to straighten it out, but it still wants to slide. Although with the extra weight on the back, it is actually a bit more controllable than the strip one, it feels like. The extra weight is actually really good to keep it controllable. I guess the other one, too much weight was in the front, and it was just bad. Like right there, if I had the stripped one, I'm pretty sure I would have spun out. But the extra weight, man, it saves you. But yet, you see this thing, it just kind of wants to slide all over the place. I'm not trying to make it slide. It just wants to slide. And who am I to tell a car he can't slide if you don't want to? Or if he wants to, I mean. Alright, we're going to go full throttle into whatever dirt pile is at the end of this thing. Because this is boring. Like, I have to go so slow to keep it under control. It's boring. Yeah! Got a bit of a roll on it. Alright, let's go the other way and hit the dirt pile over there. Uh-oh. If it'll drive straight enough to. Are you okay for this? I think he's okay. Good. Alright. Same idea. We're going to try to roll it once again. Yeah! No! We're upside down. Well, that was fun while it lasted. Now we're stuck upside down, so the fun is over. And I think that's about all I want to do with this car, because it really is a miserable thing to drive, to be honest. Like, I don't like the way it drives at all. So I'm going to just happily wreck it at places like Brutal Slope now. Now, I really don't know if I'm going to be able to control this thing here. I hope I can, but the way it controls at just 50 miles per hour is horrendous. I can't imagine how hard this is going to be to do at 150 miles per hour. Like, I'm already spinning out right here. You know, I wonder if it's going to bottom out so bad that it kind of gets stuck on the grass or something. Or the dirt. Because I noticed there's dirt being kicked up. I don't think it actually has depth to it, luckily. So I think we'll be okay. And we'll try to convertibilize it first, but I don't think there's going to be much convertibilizing going on. It's already so low to the ground. I mean, it'll definitely get lower, but it's not going to be that big of a difference, probably. Alright, so we're going to actually hit this at 200 miles per hour. So it did a good job getting down here. And we got to do probably 100 times slow-mo on this, because 8 times you'll just be through it and gone before you know it. I like that the suspension didn't even budge. Like, I saw no give in the suspension while doing that. It's just the top part got ripped off, and then it kept going. Brakes! Brakes! Oh my goodness, I just barely stopped enough. And just like that, it's still totally drivable. Well, sort of drivable. Seems a little slipperier than normal, but it still can drive. I like that the top basically just fell inside of the truck, though. That is just weird looking, but it actually kind of looks cool having it like that, having the top on the slammed vehicle. I think that would look pretty cool. So now we can go ahead and just ram the wall and see how well it holds up for that. Now, it should hold up just like any other vehicle, I'm thinking, but you never know. Sometimes the wall shows those hidden issues the vehicle will have when it crashes at high speeds. That's why I do it, really, just to see if there's a huge, giant, glitchy part. Well, then you know something about it can have issues sometimes. But if it has no issues, usually the wall, with it being a nearly 200-mile impact most of the time, is enough to tell you what's there and what's not there. All right, so we'll pull it up to 100 times slow-mo. Perfect. I love the fact that the top crushed a lot more than the rear. Like, the rear has a little bit of its shape left. Like, not a lot, just a tiny bit. The top's just gone, though. Completely gone. I see no real major glitches or anything like that, though, so it does appear that the vehicle crashes pretty decently. So that's good. So we can go ahead and move on to the final map we are going to go to, which is a Leap of Death. And there is one thing I forgot to mention earlier that I want to just point out real quick about the truck. And it's the fact that on the back there are these pieces of plastic, right? And there's still somehow brake lights and reverse lights. I don't know exactly what's up with that. But it does have headlights that seem to function at least. So you could turn those on and you could turn the high beams. Headlights. High beams. Alright. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and try to get this thing off of the cliff. I don't know if it has enough ground clearance to make the ramp. Like, the ramp might just be like, no, you won't go there. Oh, yeah. A ramp is not going to happen. Come on, let's just drive it off the cliff over here then. Works for me. Yeah, unfortunately, it does sit too low to be able to go over the ramp. Again, just showing you how low that thing actually is. And we'll just do this at full speed since it was already damaged. I figure full speed would probably be more appropriate here. Looking good. And gonna keep going, actually. Oh, I thought I was gonna get stuck on something right there for a second. I don't know what he would have got stuck on though once I saw the place. It just looked like there was a flat area below it. I was wrong. Now it's gonna not get stuck. Are you gonna get stuck? It's just so thin. It can sneak through some places. But not there. It is stuck. And I can't believe I have the stupid menu on the whole time. I just don't realize it half the time. It's like I'm looking at the car and oh no, the menu's still up. Whoops. There we go. That's a good one for slow-mo now. Although I think, we're going to hit kind of early, aren't we? There we go. Just a little bit of slow-mo on that since it's not too harsh of an impact. And a little more slow-mo. That one is a harsh impact, though. I like the headlights are on. I don't know why I left them on, but it's kind of cool having them on. Perfect. It's going to get right in the hole. Oh, not quite. It's going to hit the wall. Oh, I thought I could make it without hitting anything and just going straight through it. Almost. And it looks like the bed doesn't exactly want to detach. Like, it seems like it wants to stay on at all costs. There it goes. But it will detach eventually. You just got to kind of coax it, I guess. Please detach. And eventually, okay. Now, one thing I want to do that's going to be a little bit different is I want to pull up a map that I've used in a video before, a video for it actually, and I think it would be good for this. That's the highway. Now, for ground clearance, we're probably going to just have to stay on the center section, which is A-okay with me. And perfect, it cleared that. I wasn't sure if it would clear that part even. It should have no problem getting up to speed at least, though. That's the one positive I can say for sure. Now, after going over the bump at the end of this, maybe it's gonna be an interesting thing to see. I think it's actually going a little bit slower than I expected. I guess this is a lot less steep than Brutal Slope. I mean, thinking about it, yeah, it probably is, but I didn't realize how much less steep it was. So 130 mile per hour crash right here. Perfect. All right. That will be the end for this video. So until next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.